Well, hindsight might be 2020, but the consequences of the COVID era are still with us. O'Keefe Media Group exposed a Johnson & Johnson scientist casually admitting that they knew that the vaccines did not work as advertised.
Do you have any idea the lack of research that was done on those products?
Joe Biden says that it's safe and effective, but he didn't know.
There's no proof. I mean, none of that stuff was safe and effective. People wanted it. Who gave it to them? It's like, all right, you know what? Cancer patient's going to die anyway. I'm sure somebody's going to get sued for that stuff eventually.
It's outrageous every time that you even think that this is happening and then you actually see the video. So joining us now here in studio is OMG founder and guerrilla journalist James O'Keefe. James, thanks so much for being here and all the work that you do. But this video in particular, I have to think that this is going to make thousands, if not millions of people across America so angry when they see what the government has done.
Yeah, and the cavalier way the lead regulatory scientist for Johnson & Johnson just says that it's not safe, it's not, and he's eating the ice cream while he's admitting that they're lying and deceiving their customers. You know, this comes on the heels of a number of investigations that we've done over the years into Pfizer, exposing how the mRNA vaccine, they were trying to mutate the virus. So we broke this yesterday. We just released the video of me confronting him, which is perhaps even more surreal because he proceeds to deny his own identity. And this is not low-level guy. This is not low-level people. This guy is the lead regulatory scientist for Johnson & Johnson in New Jersey, New Brunswick, New Jersey, where he's responsible for making sure that the product is safe and effective for consumers. So, you know, it's undercover. It's hidden camera. He did not know he was being recorded. And lot to say here, but breaking news on Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, so this guy, he ran to the bathroom. Is that right? Do we have that clip? Can we show that? I mean, this is astounding.
He's going this way. He's going to run away. Is he going to walk out the back? He's going in the women's restroom. Are you confused? You want privacy, but you said your vaccine doesn't work. I am a human man. I am allowed to take a peek in the man's restroom. Yeah, he first goes into the women's restroom, and then he runs in. This is in like some type of a beer place, and then he runs into the men's restroom. And then when he says, "You're not allowed to come into the men's restroom, James," and I say, "I'm a man. I can go in." So it's really bizarre. And whenever these people are confronted, they confront their own shadow. They're looking into a mirror of themselves, and they hate what they see. Because I'm not opining on, the vaccine. I'm just quoting him. And it's very psychological. It's very twisted. That's a 10-minute long interaction there, and he proceeds to go outside on his bicycle, and he's just completely stunned. And he proceeds to kind of manipulate me into trying to get me to not run the story, and as opposed to just admit that he lied. And all these guys, they tend to lie in public and be honest in private. And that's, of course, why we do what we do.
I mean, there's no better juxtaposition. The psychology is apparent in those two clips. I mean, the first one, like you said, nonchalant, just straight to the point. Oh, yeah, we did that. We gave the people what they wanted. Yeah. There we go. And then all of a sudden, are you going to own up to that? No. And that's symbolic of the entire system right now and what's going on.
It's symbolic of that's a very good point. It's the system is completely broken, and the cavalier way in which he just admits that it's all a lie. And even the metaphor of him engorging himself with ice cream. Yeah, we give them what they want. I mean, it's almost like, how do these people sleep at night? And people say, O'Keefe, when are these people going to be arrested? I don't have the power, and neither do you, to put people in handcuffs. But I do think that kind of public sunlight being the best disinfectant, that shame, that you could see the shame in his eyes when he runs into the women's restroom. I think the shame and the righteous indignation and the truth perhaps is most important, even more so, equally so, to arresting people, but nobody's held accountable. I tweeted today, especially with all this Epstein stuff happening right now, if you lie about the vaccine, you're free and clear. If because we don't know, but if you've conspired to sexually abuse minors, you're in the clear.
Yeah.
But if you're someone like me, who's reporting on what people say, the FBI will raid you. So things are completely upside down. We need to do this en masse.
Yeah. So with this one, we do have a new HHS now. Right?
We do.
So we would think that could something happen here? Have they responded to
They
this?
they have responded. HHS, they put a statement out, and I'm gonna attempt to pull it up here while we're talking. But Bobby Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a supporter of our work, but as to what they're going to do, I mean, they can launch investigations, congressional investigations, but at the end of the day, the Department of Justice has the power to arrest people. But they did put out a statement, and they said they're going to take, paraphrasing, but they're going to take measures into their own hands to try to oversee to make sure these vaccines are safe. But what's done is done.
Yeah, they promise transparency. I see here that it's, the evidence-based oversight, putting the safety of the American people first. Right. They're going through and trying to do this now. And when I look at like an RFK Jr. or a Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, I want to believe what these people in the administration are trying to propose. Now, we know that there's, probably a lot of bad actors still along the way. But the thing that I look at really is that a lot of the money and the funding is being pulled from some of these bad groups already.
Well, this is according to an HHS spokesperson, quote, even during a public emergency, pharmaceutical companies are still required to follow strict protocols. Oversight doesn't stop at approval. The FDA and other agencies also monitor products closely. HHS remains committed to full transparency and evidence-based oversight. I'm not sure what that means exactly. But these government groups are limited by what they can do. We've investigated the FDA before, and they've talked about a revolving door. Not surprising to you or me. There's just a revolving door between these government agencies and between and the pharmaceutical companies. And regardless of how great Bobby Kennedy might be, the challenge for a lot of these good men is that they're put in charge of agencies that are vast bureaucracies of individuals who are not elected, not accountable, and oftentimes resist their leadership. Huge challenges.
Yeah, you talk about how we need to do this more and more and more. I'm still shocked that somebody's out there just willing to say all of these things publicly when they know that James O'Keefe is just running around filming people.
That's a common thing I get is how can these people be so honest? And I think people fail to understand the psychosis, the dark triad personalities, the narcissism, the lack of self-awareness, the lack of introspection. These people, if you're not held accountable for, first of all, you're not held accountable for anything. No one's ever held them accountable in their lives. And second of all, I don't think that they are like you or me. I don't think they practice any self-awareness. When they're confessing these things, I'm not even sure they're asking the person sitting across from them a single question. They're just confessing to the ether. And why do they do that? Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if they target me, which they have, and I'm sure they'll continue to, then there's the incentives are not aligned to do what you're saying, which is for them to fear anything or anybody.
I mean, the response to this one, I would think, is going to be incredible. It already has. It's popped because of how personal this is for so many people.
Yes.
And when you see the cavalier way in which these people describe something so serious that affects millions of people's bodies in America, it still astounds me that there isn't, more accountability. And I guess the big picture for me is accountability is something that everyone is looking for, right? Everyone who voted for Donald Trump, it seems like, is saying, when will we find someone held accountable? That's why people are upset about Epstein, et cetera. I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, it's so important. I think what you're doing is essential, right? You have to keep the truth in front of people and confirm and validate what happened. But what happens if there is no accountability? I mean, does this just keep on going forever?
It's a great question. I think in this changing media environment, I mean, even what I do, people wonder if it even matters. I've never gotten that before from my own audience, but there's a substantial minority of my audience that says it doesn't matter, we need jail. That's how people.
Right.
I'm sure you've seen that.
Oh yeah.
People actually.
Yes, our audience says the same thing.
So I guess the question becomes, the American. I'm going to call them the consumer of the news, and you guys are a news bureau, so you understand. The people have to decide. Are they going to be participants in believing that the truth matters, Or does the truth no longer matter to them because our media environment has become so divided, and we're no longer the Walter Cronkite and the 3 evening shows? People believe what they want to believe. And I genuinely believe that the truth does matter. And the truth and journalism, investigative journalism, we act as the custodians of the public's conscience. We test and affirm what is and what is not a shock to our sense of shared morality. If you take away journalism, and I know a lot of people hate journalism, but what they really hate is not journalism. They hate something masquerading as journalism. If you take away that real journalism, I think you're going to destroy the fabric that keeps society together. But to your point, without accountability, I would say without accountability, our notion of freedom is an illusion. That we don't have any freedom, and we are no longer a nation of laws. And we're reaching a breaking point right here and right now, related to Epstein. But the pandemic was the good news. On a hopeful note, is I think people are more willing to talk about the vaccine. 4 years ago, you get banned for publishing this. In fact, I was banned for publishing the stuff on Pfizer. They took the Pfizer expose down off YouTube. So the good news is I think we're trending in a direction where people can tell the truth, and we're going to need people in Washington, D.C. to grow a pair of balls.
Yeah, absolutely. Long gone are the days of the 3 nightly news broadcasts, and we're all very thankful that those are gone, and you are constantly putting out more videos. So let's go ahead and take a look at a series that you have called American Swipers.
Disney, Meta, the IRS, MSNBC, the NFL, the Department of Defense, we've done it all.
I set up several online dating profiles. And little did I know, I was talking to a senior person within the CIA.
Senior person within the CIA. James, what do we have to look forward to here?
This is a series with, I'm partnering with Unified TV, and they're a platform of independent investigative reporters and former 3-letter agency people. And you're watching right there a trailer for the first episode. You can go on Unified TV and watch it, it's called American Swiper. Now, these are the videos that you've seen us do, but we take you behind the scenes, and we really we talk to the undercover people. In this case, this undercover journalist met with someone from the CIA last year and met on a dating app with the guy in the CIA, and this is perhaps the most shocking thing I've ever seen in my life. The guy that works for the CIA brags and gloats, this is the guy right there, Amjad Fasisi is his name, about how they withheld information from President Trump in his first term, which is against the law. Now, the CIA agent proceeds to take out his laminated Langley badge, which is itself a crime, and it says Chinese Mission Center on the lanyard. And it's a really fascinating episode because we show you some stuff that didn't make the YouTube cuts. At one point, he starts saying, "Wait, are you recording me?" And the undercover person has to go into the bathroom, hide the gear, come back. He looks through the purse. So it's a really fascinating series of episodes that take you inside what we do. It's kind of like James Bond, but it's maybe not as glamorous as the actual fictionized version. But truth is stranger than reality. And we have a new episode out this week regarding Disney. And we'll talk a little about that.
Well, this right here is an exciting time to be alive. I mean, we just got back from DC. We were just talking before the show about the cultural energy there. This is the kind of thing that's so important right now because it's the next level, right? It's one thing to go out and do what you do, another thing to start putting together shows. And I feel like something new is really breaking forth throughout the land. And we've all been struggling, right, to make this new media happen, and it's happening now. That's great.
And I think the thing is the difference between the health of a democracy, and we are a republic, but we're a democratic republic. The health of our democratic republic is measured by whether people are willing to say what they believe out loud. And the difference between what the truth is and what people are telling us has been so wide. So I think it is exciting to see Unified putting now a couple episodes out. And you're seeing independent. Nobody tells me what to do. I think you guys know that. Nobody tells me what not to do. In fact, if any donor or investor made the attempt to try to seduce me or bribe me, I'd record them, which is why they probably don't attempt to tell me what to do. So you're looking at something uniquely American and highly independent. And by the way, so crazy that if you wrote this and brought it to Netflix, they wouldn't run it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's preposterous for a CIA special, whatever they call these guys, I forget the terminology, CIA spy, to be bragging to the girl about how they're breaking the law and hiding intel from Donald Trump. It's just so preposterous, but it's real.
Yes. Yes. And of course, what I love about that is the whole job of the CIA is to provide intelligence to the President of the United States of America. So that's the core mission that they have, and they're failing at that and bragging about failing at that. But another thing that's American is Disney. They can tell us anything about the Disney episode, because Disney, I mean, it stood for American entertainment for so long, and now no one knows.
I mean, I grew up when I was in first grade, The Little Mermaid came out in '91, and The Lion King. They put out some decent stuff here, but this is the episode launching this week, Unified, and you're looking at a undercover reporter. You actually get to hear from our undercover people. We blur their face, but you can hear them. There's nowhere else you can do that. And we take you inside a couple executives at Disney Corporation Los Angeles. And in this episode, you get to see how we caught the vice president on tape at Disney saying that we don't hire white people. And you hear them talk about what they think about Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, being corrupt and the reasons they give. You see us meet with these guys and how we get out of the car. We show you some moments that you haven't seen. Now, Disney is extremely powerful. And I'm not going to tell you who, but when I made my movie Line in the Sand, and I'm looking for a distributor right now, actually, but people are telling me at the time, don't go after Disney. Oh, you're never going to get your movie distributed. So I was in LA at the time in a post-production studio. So it was one of those things where they're just the most powerful. I didn't realize how powerful they were and how many tentacles they had. But we went into the Lion's Den. We go to Disney headquarters. We set up literally on the street, confronting the security guards, and in fact, Disney fired that vice president, and then Disney sent me a cease and desist letter. So this is how they get you, is the courts. But we take you on that journey in this new episode.
James, I love that you go out and you shine the light, because that is absolutely what needs to be done. So thanks so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We'll have more right after this.